And to our other top story, Sri Lanka's government has announced it'll declare a nationwide emergency beginning at midnight local time. This gives police and the military extensive powers to detain and interrogate anyone without a court order. It comes a day after coordinated attacks killed 290 people across the country. Earlier, the police defused a bomb in a van parked near one of the churches targeted on Easter Sunday. Adding to the tension and confusion, the health minister says the Prime Minister and some of his cabinet were not told about a prior alert warning of possible attacks. Now, police have arrested at least 24 people, but no one's claimed responsibility. The bombings targeted several luxury hotels and churches. Meanwhile, the US State Department is warning of more attacks in the country as Sri Lanka's government appeals for international assistance with the investigation. Alexi O'Brien has more.
Another blast in Colombo, outside St Anthony's Shrine. The bomb squad had been working to defuse an explosive found in a van when it blew up near one of the targets of the coordinated attacks on Easter Sunday. Other explosives were found near the city's main bus station. Sri Lanka is a nation on edge after the worst violence since the end of its civil war 10 years ago. Outside this hospital in the capital, they wait under heavily armed guard, hoping for news of their family and friends.
She went to church yesterday. We kept calling her after we heard of the incident, but there was no response. That is why we came here first thing in the morning.
Priests join the crowds gathering outside the morgue to identify the bodies. These scenes are repeated across a country struggling to come to terms with not only the devastating bombings in churches and hotels, but the news that there was information that an attack was imminent.
Chief of National Intelligence for Security Defense.
The Chief of Intelligence wrote a letter to the police officials, where he mentioned many names of the members of the terrorist organization, but those letters have not been copied to the Prime Minister and the President. The Prime Minister has not been informed about the letters and these revelations. This letter indicates that the leader of Tawhid Jamaat has planned a series of attacks in this country.
The government says the breakdown in communications being investigated. There's been a rift between the Prime Minister and the President since late last year. Now rival factions are blaming each other for the attack that the Health Minister linked to a little-known local group called the National Tawhid Jamaat. The inquiry will look at whether it received advice, weapons or money from overseas. Security forces have been conducting raids and making arrests, and the government says it will bring in emergency powers. Here, investigators comb the shattered remains of St Sebastian Church in Negombo, just outside the capital. The walls of this house of prayer stained with shrapnel and the blood of the victims. The government says Tuesday will be a national day of mourning. It's apologised to families of the victims and announced compensation. But along with deep sadness, there's also growing anger that these attacks may have been prevented. Alexi O'Brien, Al Jazeera.